This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
You don't know what you're talking about, do you?
That is a disgrace.
I screwed that up right off the top, didn't I? I meant to play this one.
How do we allow this country to be properly run and raise the standard of living for all our voters? By taking it away from the unaccountable and the pious platitudes of pompous politicians which have been running this country for too long.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I agree with Smug. That he has such a lack of self-awareness that he complains about others being pompous. I mean, come on, that is just an open goal. I couldn't resist. And neither can I resist Esther McVeigh. She's very, very concerned about the public's money being spent on this or that. Esther McVeigh is the Minister for Common Sense. Unless she is working for free, can we have that money back? Text and tweets and such from last night. Des says, what says the day after the Labour Party is elected to power, the Tory party will blame every single issue on immigration and every other current issue with the country on the Labour Party? Yes. Andy in Malden Rushit, if indeed there is such a place, says, I listened to your What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol podcast today.
Oh, right, yeah.
Where you talked about how you can make it easier to hear somebody talking to you in a loud club or bar by sticking your fingers in your ears. Now, I went on and on and on and on and on about how easy it is to listeners to hear what somebody is saying in a very, very like a disco, for instance. You know how hard it is to make yourself heard when you're talking to somebody in a disco? You have to yell in their ear, which is probably not good for their hearing. The easiest way of doing it is to either wear earplugs or put your finger in your ear and close off your ear hole, and then somebody can talk to you in the softest tones and you can hear everything they're saying. It's like a magic trick. Anyway, Andy says, I have to confess when I heard it, I thought it was absolute, very bad word beginning with, well, I won't tell you what it's beginning with. It's just awful.
Disgusting.
He said, how could that possibly work? Well, tonight I was out with my father-in-law at a lovely Turkish restaurant that was incredibly busy and very, very noisy, so I figured I'd try it. Well, blow me down, it bloomin' well works.
Oh, right, yeah.
It goes to show your podcast is absolutely worth listening to. A lovely evening was had by all and the conversation flowed nicely. I'm not sure what the other patrons thought when they saw us sticking our fingers over our ears. Thanks, Nick and Carol. Another satisfied customer. That podcast, by the way, is a hoot and a half, and it is a problem-solving podcast. And we have a major laugh while we're doing it, but every now and again, I do think that we give excellent advice. It's available on an internet near you. It's called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol. I think you'll love it. John in Blackpool says, Nick, the STEM media, that is the Sun, the Telegraph, the Express and the Mail, will be busily concocting scare stories about Labour between now and the general election. Elphicke's a fifth columnist. There's mine, says John. Oh, Diane Abbott is very, very upset with good reason. I'll come to that in a minute, as soon as I can find the story. One moment, please. I'm all over the place. IQ levels have dropped in America. Can you believe that?
Yes.
That's actually true. I'm not making that up. IQ levels have dropped across America, but we shouldn't get too, we shouldn't get carried away with ourselves, because I'm pretty sure they've dropped here too.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Susan in Wiltshire says, Nick, I'm your age-ish, and It's a Sin is a brilliant drama. It's set during the 1980s AIDS epidemic. Oh, my God.
No.
No, it's a no from me. Why would you want to dip yourself in that misery? Absolutely. Aberdeen. Hello, Daniel.
Hello, Nick.
Daniel.
I wanted to mention Magnolia Paint, because I was listening to your podcast yesterday.
Magnolia. Paint. Yeah.
I bought a 7.5 litre trade pot of that recently.
Wow.
You know how much it cost me?
Let me guess. £50.
18.
18?
18.
That's very good value for money. But is it good paint, though? Because paint comes in different qualities, you know.
It's Crown.
Well, you Without mentioning any brand names. Crown, okay. You say. Well, I'm sure that is excellent in every regard.
Yeah, it's what the trade use.
Yeah, what colour is it?
It's magnolia.
Magnolia, yeah. Well, that's exactly what you ordered, precisely. Yeah, it's like white, but not quite.
Yeah, well, I kind of figured when you have neutral walls, you can just hang things on the wall.
Yeah, a little splash of colour every now and again, of course. Yeah, like a throw or a cushion, perhaps.
Well, I'm looking at a framed poster, and
of
this
what?
Is an absolute classic poster. It's from...
No, don't tell me. It's the Queen.
No.
Queen.
Rock and roll!
David Bowie. It's Marilyn Monroe.
No.
Give me a clue.
Manchester.
Manchester? You have a poster of Manchester on your wall.
No,
it's What's Your Story, Morning Glory. It's the cover of the Oasis album. No?
No.
Manchester.
Actually, you say Manchester.
Oh, Manchester. It's a picture of the factory building.
Pre-Manchester, late 70s.
In Manchester? The Smiths?
No.
Is it music related?
Yes.
Is it a picture of people or a band?
It's kind of a bill poster for a gig.
Oh, well, that could be anything. What's the year?
Oh, God, about 1978 or something.
78? Oh, well, then it'd have to be the Buzzcocks.
Like that. No.
The Sex Pistols. The Clash. Kate Bush. Is it Brotherhood of Man?
No, it's actually from the Russell Club in Moss Side in Manchester.
Right. Well, who's on stage?
You call them Jilted John, Big in Japan, Manicured Noise.
Well, Jilted John. Gordon is a moron. I have that single.
Killer Boys, Joy Division.
Well, that doesn't sound like something that would look good on your wall, though.
Well,
it depends how old you are. How old are you?
Mid-40s.
Mid-40s? Well, that's way too old to have a band on your wall. It just
is. It's not a band. It's actually the poster from the first factory night.
Right. Well, even so, I think you need to grow up, Daniel. Get some art on your wall, for crying out loud.
Okay, then.
All right. Okay. Am I helping yet?
No.
Not really, no. Lou texts, I'm worried about 5 ducklings on our village pond that I watched for quite a while today, and there was no mother duck in sight. Shall I call the RSPB? Well, you could, Lou, but I would predict that they wouldn't be remotely interested, because they couldn't care less when I called them about more than 5 ducklings that were stranded on my balcony a good long while ago. They virtually slammed the phone down on me. We're the Royal Society for the Prevention of Birds. What are you calling us for? They said. No, I had to call around and around and around, and I called the animal charity. What's the big RSPCA and the RSPB, and I had acronyms coming out my ears, and the only people that could help me at all was the local wetlands centre, which came along and scooped those ducklings up and put them in a shopping bag and made off with them, much to the mother's discontent, by the way. Sat there looking forlorn on the edge of my balcony for days. And the bloke that came round said, no, don't worry about it. It'll go off in a while and go and lay another bunch of eggs. Somewhere equally stupid, I would imagine. How there are so many ducks in the world, I don't know, because they're morons. And I mean that with love and affection. Jan says, just got 10 ducklings. Well, they're everywhere. Carol says, nothing highlights Sunak's zombie Tory government like Tory MPs defecting to Starmer's Labour Party each week at the start of PMQs in the run-up to the election. Yeah, I think they hate you, Rishi. What's your plan for that?
We have a plan, or you just go back to square one. That's why it's so important we stick to this plan, because we have a plan, we put that plan in place, where there is absolutely no plan. Right, we have got a plan. That plan is working. If we stick with it, we can deliver a brighter future for the country. But like my main message is plan, no plan.
This is LBC. Nick Abbot on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
And remember,
Barbara, darling. I don't work before 10 in the morning and never after 4:30 in the afternoon.
So do you want to talk about cat flaps or Diane Abbott? Both, but not at the same time. Diane Abbott lashed out at Keir Starmer for welcoming Tory defector Natalie Elphicke, while she herself remains suspended from the party. What bizarre times we're living through, eh? The veteran left-winger who's been MP for Hackney North and Stoke Newington since 1987 has had the Labour whip withdrawn for more than a year. Well, the people of Hackney North and Stoke Newington absolutely love her. How come Skier doesn't? She was suspended amid a probe into her comments about Jewish people in a letter to The Observer in April last year. She issued a swift apology. She said,
I am very sorry that I screwed up. Totally I am so sorry. You just don't know how sorry I am. I'm sorry.
But saying sorry over and over again don't make no never mind, because she's still having to sit as an independent MP in the House of Commons. The former Shadow Home Secretary drew a comparison between her own treatment by Labour and that of Natalie Elphicke. She said Elphicke was right to apologise for past comments, in which she appeared to blame victims after her husband Charlie Elphicke, whom she succeeded as Dover MP, was convicted of sexual assault. How they managed to stitch that up, I have absolutely no idea. Her husband got elbowed out of position, and she nipped smartly in there to become the MP. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
I can't believe it. But Abbott said the decision to accept it 5 years after she first said it is unusual. Not everyone is treated with such generosity, says Diane Abbott, correctamundo. And Skier defended the anger in his own party at Elphicke being allowed to join the Labour Party and claimed that politics should be less tribal. Oh, come off it. That's not what the opposite side think. I mean, here we go again with the left showing up to a street fight, showing up to a knife fight with a poetry book. Tribal. He argued that Elphicke's switch showed that we've got a Tory party that's on its last legs, it's out of ideas, and urged people to be less tribal in our pursuit of a better country. Well, you know, what does it say about Labour's ideas that they keep welcoming people defecting from the party that's out of ideas? Elphicke, Dr. Dan, Christina Wakeford, all were elected as Tories and all said, right, that's it, I'm switching, but kept their job, their seat. I mean, the people wanted a Conservative for whatever reason, and they voted for one, and they'd secured the vote, and once they did that, they switched to become a member of the party that the constituents had rejected. I still can't believe that that's allowed. Skier said, I'm very pleased to welcome Natalie to the Labour Party. You've heard the reasons yourself why she took that very difficult step. Well, I've heard what she said, yeah. The Labour leader said that he wanted his party to be a place that reasonably minded people, whichever way they voted in the past, feel they can join. Reasonably minded people, but not Diane Abbott, not Jezza Corbyn. I mean, they seem reasonably minded to me, but then I've been snorting Vim scouring powder all day. So maybe I'm not the best judge. I'm on about 3 tubes of Vim a day now, man. I can handle it. I'm just feeling a bit abraded at the moment, that's all. Critics have accused Skier of turning the party into a dustbin for Conservative right-wingers. Did you see that Count Binface tweet? I mean, how could you not love that man more? He said, Natalie Elphicke tried defecting to me first, but I said no. I'm taking the trash out, not in. You get my vote, Mr. Count Binface, if that is indeed your name. Downing Street pointed out that Elphicke's past attacks on Labour's immigration policy, while former Prime Minister Lord Cameron said her defection showed the opposite party stood for nothing. The Labour Party stands for nothing, says David Cameron. And if there's anyone who is expert in standing for nothing, it's Lord Dave. If you ever need him, by the way, you'll find him in the shed where they keep the tools.
I think this is nonsense.
And there were calls for Diane Abbott to be readmitted as Labour MP earlier this year. Tory donor Frank Hester was reported to have said that Diane Abbott, Britain's first black female MP, made him want to hate all black women and that she should be shot. And the Tories still found it in their hearts to accept his money. Isn't that touching? And I did some homework. Can you believe that?
No.
I looked up Natalie Elphicke's voting record just to see if she, fits in with that whole Labour thing. She voted for mass surveillance of people's communication and activities. Yeah, that's a thing. She consistently voted against laws to promote equality and human rights. She consistently voted for restricting the scope of legal aid, which you would think would concern a legal beagle like Skier. She generally voted against requiring imported goods to meet domestic standards.
What?
She consistently voted for photographic voter identification at polling stations, which, as Smug said, was an attempt at gerrymandering.
I don't know anything.
He said that. The quiet part out loud. They're so secure in their positions, with this wall of money they've managed to build around them, that they're just blurting out the quiet part now. She consistently voted against higher taxes on banks. She consistently voted against raising the threshold at which people start to pay income tax. She consistently voted for more restrictive regulation of trade union activity. What? Now, that's not going to go down very well. She voted for reducing capital gains tax, which is how the rich make their money. She consistently voted against landlords paying for the cost of building safety works. Consistently voted against stronger fire safety measures. Generally voted against measures to prevent climate change. Is any of this fitting in with the Labour Party's ethos?
No.
Don't think so. She voted against greater regulation of hydraulic fracking. Consistently voted against improving biodiversity because, who needs that? She consistently voted against improving environmental water quality, because who needs water? And consistently voted against improving air quality, because, breathing is woke. So I'm not sure how she fits in over there, and Diane Abbott and Uncle Jezza don't, but then, what do I know about anything? Not much, that's for sure. 0345 6060 973. Manchester. Hello, Raj.
Hi there, Nick. How are you doing this evening?
Good, thanks.
Good. I was just about this Elphicke woman. Now, I don't really care for her in the slightest. I know why Keir Starmer's done it. He's directly speaking to Conservative voters now, saying, you can come over because you can trust us with whatever. But my only issue with this fundamentally is, so she's not going to stand for the next election anyway, that's fine, that's good. But if he ends up giving her a peerage, I'm going to be absolutely mortified.
I hadn't even thought about that.
That is the same as cash for peerage, isn't it? Just like that other guy, Hester or whatever his name, but it's exactly the same, apart from, it's not money that she's given. She's given up a soul or whatever it is inside her. I don't know whether she actually has one, but it would really irk me that so much.
Well, it would irk me too, and I hadn't actually had that thought, but now I've had it, I can't unthink it. Thanks a lot, Raj.
Well, one more thing, Nick.
Yes.
I'll tell you this is the truth, right? I've been waiting for 2 weeks to ask you this, right? So, this is the question. How long do you think it will take for one of these refugees that we send back to Rwanda, or send to Rwanda, ends up back in the UK?
About 6 minutes.
Does that make it back,
6, yeah, no doubt. 6 or 7 minutes, something like that. Money well spent, yes?
No.
All right, thanks a lot, Raj. I certainly hope you weren't driving while you were conversing with me on the telephone, because that would be right out, not allowed. Human beings can't drive when they're maximising their concentration on what they're doing. They certainly can't drive while they're busy doing something else, having an important telephone conversation with the likes of me. This text says, man after my own heart, sir. Never did understand the point of Eurovision. And yes, those here banging on about migrants do tend to be the ones living furthest from the Kent shores. Yes, they do. Yeah, out there in the countryside where nary a foreign face or accent is heard or seen. This text says, can I ask when my mortgage will be reduced, as this shower are gloating over the oh-so-exciting inflation news? You mean you're not feeling the benefits yet? You must be. We're out of a recession. Growth is up, and you're not feeling it? I can't believe it. Can I ask when my mortgage will be reduced? Yeah, you can. How about never? Can I pencil you in for never? This text says, is democracy the real problem? If the few can influence the masses, politicians are simply part of the same system. They will dance to the tune that best advances their future. That was a lot of words. Did any of it make sense? Is democracy the real problem? If the few can influence the masses, politicians are simply a part of the same system. They will dance to the tune that best advances their future. And I can't get past that this person has spelt "their" wrong. I know it's pedantic, but it's very, very important. This text says, Lord Cameron certainly making up for the years in the shed, Nick. This week alone he's been in Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan and Mongolia, wherever they are. I'd have thought it was a desperate dash for air miles, only he's on private jets paid for by us poor dopes. Oh, well, not long to go, says whoever, I cut his name off. Not long to go. Yeah, I do have detailed files about David Cameron. Let's see if I can rustle those up straight away, if not sooner. One moment, please. Your call is important to us. One moment. It's in there somewhere. I've only got about 56,000 pages of very important, detailed information. Hang on a minute. I've got no idea where it is. It's in there somewhere. Read it for yourself later. I've got too much information to be able to pull that out straight away. I'll look it up during the news. Leave it with me. Jessica from Derby says, separating UK people from their cars is like trying to do the same with Americans and their guns. Is it? What, they're going to kill you? Take their cars out of their cold, dead hands? I don't think so. By the way, IQ levels in America have dropped. Did you hear about that? I'll come to that in a minute as well. There's so much to talk about. And then there's Rishi Sunak's wife did an interview with an organ and told us all about her fabulous life. Aren't you excited to hear about it?
No.
Well, I'll give you the full details. The full excruciating details. This says, a baby duckling can run at a maximum speed of 7 miles an hour. How could you not catch it? I tell you what, they're very, very fast. They're very fast and they change direction really, really quickly. Try pick one up. I bet you can't do it. I did. I did try and I couldn't do it. I had to get a man in. An expert. A baby duckling can run at a maximum speed of 7 miles an hour. How could you not catch it? You could even legally catch one in South Wales with a 13-mile-an-hour buffer zone. Well, I wasn't trying to catch it in a car. And this says, hey, Nick, just got back from Aberdeen. Have they changed the government up there? For a change, the sun was out with no rain either.
What?
I can't believe that. Hey, have you heard what the weather's going to be like tomorrow? Good grief. One moment, please. I'll just pull that up. Leicester Square tomorrow, not that you would actually want to be in Leicester Square tomorrow, it's going to be 78 degrees. Wow. That's like summer. And then you know what it's going to go down to almost straight away? 63. Don't ask me what that is in centigrade. It's numbers that are much, much less than that. I've made the switch over to Fahrenheit during the summertime because I know what 78 is. 78 is hot. But the equivalent in centigrade is, I don't know, like 27 or something like that, which doesn't sound very hot, does it? 78, that's a big number. 27, not so big. So in the summertime, I'm Fahrenheit. In the wintertime, I'm centigrade because I know what 0 is. That sounds cold. But 36 doesn't sound that cold. So, it's a workaround. It works for me. I'm full on Fahrenheit now. Don't ask me about any of that European surrender centigrade.
No! Nick Abbot. Abbot on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Don't touch me, or I'll kill you.
So here are the details of Lord Cameron. Lord Cameron posed up a storm as his whistle-top tour of Asia reached Mongolia. The Foreign Secretary was shown a traditional saddle during a meeting with the country's Prime Minister on his visit to Ulaanbaatar, which has got 5 A's in it, which is about 3 A's too many. He also sat in on an English lesson for school children and held talks with the President. So it's like a royal tour. Have you come far? He sat in on an English lesson for school children and he looked at a saddle. It's the first high-level visit to Mongolia by a UK minister in a decade. Lord Cameron has also been to Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan and Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan and Kazakhstan. Basically all of the stands, as he tried to strengthen Britain's links to Central Asia because of all the things we could trade with them, like, the things that Kyrgyzstan is famous for, like, I've got nothing. Yak's milk? That was a recording of a yak made yesterday. Embarking on his 5-day trip, Lord Cameron said, "We live in a contested, competitive world. If you want to protect and promote British interests, you need to get out there and compete." In Uzbekistan? Isn't France nearer? And don't they actually make things that we want?
Booze.
Exactly. Lord Cameron's racked up huge air miles at our expense since being appointed by Titchy suit size last November in order to address the serious lack of old Etonians on the Tory front bench. He has, we are told, been banging the drum for British business during his latest jaunt. Great. Well, we can now sell stuff to Kazakhstan, like, the things that we make that ordinary Kazakhs need, like cow's milk. That was a recording of a cow made yesterday. You can tell the difference. Lord Cameron announced £50 million of development funding for the region over the next 3 years. OK, apart from being an insultingly small amount of money to offer the government of a whole country, never mind about a handful of them, his lordness goes to the stands, supposedly in order to help us poor dopes who pay taxes.
The little people.
The little people. And the result is that we are sending money we don't have to a lot of places that end in stand that no one in this country could point to on a map if their lives depended on it.
Oh, fabulous.
Great work there, your lordness. I certainly hope you managed to squeeze in a little personal business when you were there. I mean, we do appreciate your selfless duty and all, but think of yourself every now and again, Dave. You're worth it. I can't believe it. York. Hello, Jan.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
I am great, mate. Can you believe that whole Lord Cameron issue?
Oh, God. Isn't it awful?
Yeah, that's a pretty good summation of the situation, yeah. Isn't it awful? Yes, it is.
It is. Absolutely awful. You mentioned the lovely warm weather earlier, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, there are a couple of downsides, though, don't you think?
Go on.
Men who take the shirts off and flaunt the flabby bodies all over the town.
Oh, God, why do they do that?
I don't know. I think it should be against the law.
Illegal, yes. There's a lot of things that were in the papers today that aren't against the law in this country, but should be. One was a woman who came here from Australia and can't believe the difference in laws between here and there. And another was these Spanish places that are banning tourists, well, essentially banning British tourists from acting like British tourists.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah.
Mind you, I don't blame them, do you?
Absolutely. No, of course not. No, I mean, we're awful when we're abroad. Really, really appalling. Yeah, and if we didn't have, if we didn't spend so much money, then they wouldn't want us there at all. In fact, some are coming to the conclusion that they actually don't. We're not worth it.
Well, we're awful here as well, aren't we? Some of us, anyway.
Yes, that is true, yeah.
But, I mean, who wants to see a flabby... Oh,
a flabby body. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you who. No one. That's who.
Awful.
Yeah.
It's just not right. And the second thing, people who play loud music in the garden.
Oh, well, that's just... yeah, I mean, those people should be...
shot.
You know what? I was going to say shot, and then I thought, well, that's probably going a bit far. But then you just blundered in there and did it for me.
Well, I think so.
Shot. Right.
Yeah,
well, it depends what kind of music it is.
Well, I mean, I like music, but you don't want to hear somebody else's, do you? Not, they're shattering the piece, aren't they?
Yeah, thump, thump, thump. You definitely don't want to hear that kind of music loudly coming from anywhere that's not your own stereo. No, you don't. No. How people can turn their stereo up knowing that other people are being irritated by them doing that, I don't know. I can't fathom it. I lived in a flat a while ago, and I had to buy headphones for my TV because I thought, if I play the TV in the evening, they're going to be able to hear it unless it's on whisper quiet. So they must have thought I just read books all night.
That's very considerate of you.
Well, I'm a very considerate person.
Yeah. But I think that should be against the law, playing music in your back garden.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's terrible.
If other people can hear your music, then you should not be allowed to play it at that volume. That's true.
No, definitely not. Anyway, that's my complaint for tonight.
Right. Well, it sounds like you've unburdened yourself all over me.
I have. Yeah. But it's good weather, isn't it? Lovely weather.
Finally. But it's going to be... they're showing us summer. This happens every year. It shows us summer, and then it takes it away again.
I think tomorrow's okay, but on Monday I think we're going to get rain again. Yeah,
the whole of next week is going to be rubbish. It's going to be 78 degrees in the middle of London tomorrow. In York, probably a little bit less, but thoroughly pleasant from start to finish. And then, next week, back to the misery, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Did you see the Northern Lights?
No, I didn't. I rushed home in order to take a peek, because you can't see nothing in the middle of town, in the middle of London. It's just way too bright. And so I thought, by the time I get home, the show will be fantastic. Couldn't see a thing. Nothing.
Apparently, I think you can probably see them tonight in the southeast. So,
well, they said that yesterday was a G5 storm, which was the maximum, and tonight's going to be G3. So if you didn't see it last night, then you're probably not going to see it tonight.
Oh, well, never mind.
But I missed a celestial show. Probably the only time I'll ever be able to see the Northern Lights. I've always wanted to see them, and I looked up and nothing was there.
Oh, what a shame.
Yeah, but you know me, I never complain.
Stop whining.
Well, of course not.
All right, keep your eyes peeled, Jan. Thanks a lot. Cheers, my dear. Keep your eyes peeled and your ears closed. Alex in Greenwich says, absolutely classic Labour, complete lack of pragmatism and doing its best from the wings to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. Traditionally, it's always been the right looking for recruits while the left looks for scapegoats. The roles are looking like they're being reversed for once, and we start looking for reasons why it's bad. Classic. It's bad because Natalie Elphicke does not embody what I thought the Labour Party was all about. But then you could say that of quite a few people who are in the Labour Party and who have not defected from the right of the right-wing party. I mean, she was in the ERG, was she not? The European Research Group. You know, those people. I think that it would have reflected well on Skier to just say no thanks. I mean, you don't have to be rude about it.
Be polite.
Just say no thank you. And while videoing her so I could see the look on her face. This text says, these MPs' defections feel like a football sub who never got a run out during the season and gets a transfer to be a sub in another team. That must be heartbreaking. That's actually quite sad. I mean, if I sit here and contemplate that a while, I'm just going to get upset. Imagine being selected as a footballer at a young age, and you go through all the schools and the training, and you get picked up as a professional player for one of the big clubs, and then they don't use you. You're just forever sitting on the bench. God, that must be awful. Like the reserve goalkeeper, for instance, never gets picked unless the first choice goalkeeper is injured in some way, which very seldom happens because they don't do much. This text says, these MPs defect... No, read that. This one says, hi, Nick, my name is Kiri, black cab driver in London. That's a weird name. I hear what you're saying about Keir Starmer. Keir, K-I-A. like he's a drink. However, can you imagine what the newspapers would be saying if you refuse that Dover MP? Yeah, they would have said, well, here's a man with principles. They probably wouldn't, would they? They would have called him rude and... but they would have been hard pressed to actually come up with something negative to say about that. And it wouldn't make any difference anyway. They're going to write negative things regardless of what he does. If he cures cancer, they'll be complaining that he didn't do it sooner. Siobhan in Southampton says, I'd already decided that I couldn't vote for a party led by a man who was happy to sanction withdrawal of water, food and fuel from Palestinians just to prove that he isn't Jeremy Corbyn. But if I hadn't, their enthusiasm for Tory Health Minister Dan Poulter and Natalie Elphicke would definitely have finished me off. Presumably, you no longer have to have any values at all to be in the Labour Party now. Well, I think that I detect a certain panic that their lead is so great that to lose it now would be the biggest loss in political history. And the right-wing press are keeping on with those stories about, it's going to be a hung parliament. It's the same people who are writing that Susan Hall was going to give London an upset and win the mayoralty. And how did that go, by the way?
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah, same people. They're writing it down in the hope that if they write it, it will become true. Hung parliament. What are they talking about? Hey, journalists. Wake up, it's later than you think.
Nick Abbot on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
What's he got to be depressed about?
Oh, blimey, where do I even begin? Glasgow. Hello, Darren.
Right. What's happening, Nick? So, after it took us about 10 minutes to get through to you after your producer to try to make us all forget what you were talking about, letting us listen to your wee 10-minute rants. Anyways, we're going back to mind that wee old lady that you hold on. That was going on about noises in the street.
Oh, yeah. Other people playing music in their gardens, yes.
Well, right now, obviously, I'm in Glasgow. I'm a Celtic fan. Celtic have pretty much all just secured the league title.
Yeah,
so
again.
You can imagine this weekend, yeah, I know, again, we're that good, what can I say? But again, the streets, like my street alone, is been absolutely hectic all night. It's just started to calm down now. It's been an absolute part of my atmosphere. It's been brilliant. I get what this wee lady's saying, but it's not as if the streets are hectic with people screaming and shouting and...
Yeah. Well, I don't know. She was in York and she could hear it.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but sometimes these noises and these bangs and bings and going-ons are celebrations. That's good times. In Glasgow, we're going to have a good weekend because, once again, the mighty Glasgow Celtic have shown that...
Well, Glasgow, can you just keep it down to a roar, please?
We'll try. We'll see how we go on next week when the Cup final comes.
Right. OK, well, the best of luck. Thanks a lot, Darren. 0345 6060 973. Also in Glasgow, Paul says, Nick, I'm interested by the double standards in the right-wing media. When Natalie Elphicke was in the Tory party, nothing was mentioned. Now Natalie Elphicke has joined Labour, they've noticed that she is a terrible person. Trying to blame her husband's victims for his crimes and various appalling comments in general. How could Labour accept her? No mention that she has been a Tory for years. That's a good point. They've only... in fact, Tory MPs as well. They've only discovered that they don't like her now that she's not one of them anymore. This says, it's just a numbers game. Letting Tories join the Labour Party will gain more voters than it loses. I don't know. It says, I will not change my vote from Labour because of this, as that is the only chance of getting rid of this incompetent government. But some Tory voters will switch. I suspect that some people that were dallying with the idea, dallying, having a dalliance with the idea of voting Labour, when they hear that Natalie Elphicke and three Tories have said, right, that's it, I'm leaving, and they cross the floor, I think it might make them think and think again. I'm not sure that it's a win-win. And this one says, Nick, do you know all your listeners are taking photos of the Northern Lights on their phone? Yeah, I saw a lot of pictures last night from people sending me in the Northern Lights from up around where they live. Absolutely nothing here. Although people south of here said that they could see it. And I live in a place which is quite dark. I mean, there's no, there's no great light pollution, but I couldn't see a single thing. So maybe it just skipped around me. Let's have Cheshire. John.
Hi, I live in a place where it's quite dark. It's called the north of England.
And could you see them last night?
No, I didn't even bother.
Oh.
I forgot all about it. But we do have an MP down the road who's the Minister for Common Sense.
Oh.
I mean, when I heard what was said on the news, because I hadn't heard it before,
yeah,
I thought, what?
That she would draw attention to herself and that ridiculous title that she's got, the Minister for Common Sense. I mean, it's like we're living in... we've gone through the looking glass with Alice. What is happening in this country now?
That's what I thought when I heard it. She was given that title. I mean, it's bad enough she's an MP. I mean,
yeah.
But it is nuts that she's an MP for, so...
that explains it, yeah.
I live in Sandbach, where the peasants live. Not really peasants, but a few peasants.
Peasants? Yeah.
But, that rubbish, I mean, is she ever going to get her teeth fixed?
I don't know. She's got patriotically British teeth. We're known all over the world for the crisscross nature of our gnashers. I mean, most British people's mouths look like a disused cemetery. The teeth are going here, there and everywhere, baby. But I don't know what the state of her mouth is. I haven't examined it.
Most posh people speak and the lips don't move. But with her, you can't miss it. She got a right gob of tombstones.
Right. Well, I did not know that. She certainly needs to get that looked at. Somebody should look into it.
Maybe a dentist.
Yeah, a dentist would be a good idea. Yeah, or some other expert or professional. Yeah. Okay, good work. Thanks a lot, John. Minister for Common Sense. And she's complaining about other people wasting the public's money. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
I can't believe it. Like, I actually can't believe it. If you told me several years ago that there'd be a Minister for Common Sense who closely followed the Minister for trying to find something positive to say about Brexit.
I don't know anything.
And he still doesn't know anything. And they're claiming they have the public's interest at heart, that they're concerned about wasting our money. Come on. Oh, there was this thing about Gordon Brown in the paper. They're still banging on about Gordon Brown selling the gold. I'll come to that in a minute as well. So much to deal with. Here, have we lost that stupid contest yet? When are the results in? I don't care. Don't tell me. Kath in North Wales texts, I'm sure Question Time used to go out live because I'd listen to it in bed live on BBC Radio 5 after it, Adrian Charles would have a chit-chat with people about it called Question Time Extra Time. That's a terrible name for a radio show. I've got no idea. I just avoid that whole thing like the plague. I just can't abide any of those people that are on those programmes. I just can't. I will not have them in my living room. Manchester. Hello, Stephen.
Hello, Nick.
Yes, sir.
I thought you said Chester there.
Manchester. Yeah, Manchester.
Yeah, come on, Rick. So Rick, I just called you Nick, Rick. We talked last night,
Nick.
Didn't we?
I am Nick.
I know you're not Rick, though.
Not Rick, no.
Rick Abbott.
Hey, Ricky, you're so fine.
Abbott.
You're so fine.
Yes.
You blow my mind.
Anyway.
Hey, Ricky. Yeah.
Hey, Ricky. Oh, that was Tony. What's he called?
Tony Basil. Wow.
Oh, Ricky, you're
Can't.
so fun.
Okay.
Ricky.
All right.
That's
okay.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. We
Anyway,
remember
so
it
we
well.
talked last night, and we were talking about action films, and then all of a sudden we weren't. I mean, you came up with this ludicrous thing about Terminator 2 being the greatest film of all time. What?
Correct.
Let's have a carol.
Yeah.
Let's have a carol there. And I was going, no, it's not. Definitely not. And then anyway, we started talking about with Neil and I, and then we went into that like big time, didn't we? And by the way, we didn't even mention...
What is this, all our yesterdays? Did you just call up to remind me about the things that I was saying yesterday?
No, there's definitely an end to it. So anyway, didn't even talk about the late, great Richard Griffiths, who, by the way, Uncle Monty, who creeps you out, but you just absolutely loved him, didn't you?
There is nothing quite... I'm not going to get this perfectly right, but it's something of the order of, there is nothing quite so lovely as a fine, young carrot.
Yeah, I see. He was growing carrots in his front room, wasn't he?
Something like that. Yeah.
And do you remember he goes, "Oh, you've gone over to biscuit umscar," you know.
Anyway, you said there's an end to this. What is it?
There's definitely an end. I'm like thinking about Labour now. Like, I can't vote Tory, right? So
no,
but I'm worrying about Labour a bit, like the Ange thing that's going on, stuff like that.
Well, you're going to have to pick one, Stephen. Or not, of course. I mean, if
you're never going. You see, this is where like people like me sit, because you're never not going to pick one, are you?
Of course, I'm going to pick one.
Always going to. You're like a sort of a really homogenised.
I'm undecided.
Marxist.
No, I've decided. I'm going to pick one. Most definitely. Are you kidding?
I'm not. I'm kind of like thinking I can't vote Green after what happened in Leeds the other day, because I'm thinking. I thought Caroline Lucas. I lived in Brighton for 5 years, I think, 4.5 years, and I'm kind of shocked with
what happened. What happened with Caroline Lucas in Leeds? I missed that.
Well, no. With what happened in Leeds the other day with that councillor that got voted in and then did what he did. I don't even say it. Right. So the thing is, my protest vote always used to be Green.
Yeah.
I haven't even got a protest vote.
Well, how about the Liberal Democrats? How about Count Binface? Maybe you could write your own name in there, Stephen.
I love the name Count Binface, but I mean, who are you going to vote for, Nick? I mean, we know who you're going to vote for, but it's the kind of people like me that are not just drifting; they are lost at sea, brother.
Well, don't be lost, Stephen. Just pick the least bad option and do that. But you absolutely, totally, and definitely must vote. Promise me you'll do that. I'll assume that the answer is yes. Thanks a lot, Stephen. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Have we lost that stupid show yet? Don't tell me, I don't care. No point. That's what I'm hoping for. David in Teddington on that subject says, "Hi Nick, I think the UK's entry would have got more sympathetic votes if it had done an updated version of When the Boat Comes In." When the boat comes in. I see, with the Stop the Boats thing.
The country's priority is to stop the boats. And at the same time, I think people know that I'm relentlessly focusing on stopping the boats, and I'm relentlessly focused on stopping the boats. That's
my number one priority.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global. Leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Hi, Annie. How are you?
Yes, hello. I've been waiting for you. Hello.
Yes, I've been waiting for you on 0345 6060 973. And here is a person that's called that number in Heston. Isaac.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
Very well, thanks.
Yeah, right. As I'm listening to you, I've turned the sound down to Eurovision.
Oh.
Okay.
At what point are we in that stupid show?
Well, this is the result, and I'm telling you, oh my goodness me, we are now joint bottom with Estonia in alphabetical order. With 0 points.
What do you mean in alphabetical order?
Well, Estonia are also on nil point, and they're above us in alphabetical order.
Oh, right. We have 0. And how many countries have voted so far?
Oh, Christ, I'm not sure how many countries. There's 37 countries voting, so I'm not sure.
37? I mean, the voting alone is going to take hours.
That's right. Anyway, I'll put it on record. At the moment, the top 4 are...
on record. Yes.
Yeah, the top 4 are Switzerland, Ireland, Italy, and Portugal.
Wow.
Right. And I have I have a chat with a good friend of mine of 30 years now.
Yeah.
Okay. And we always, we watch it. I watch it. Not so much it's a fun event, but the number one reason I watch it is for the ladies. You know.
The ladies.
And ladies, yeah. And some of the hottest ladies are Greece, Italy.
Right. It's not Miss World, you know. It's a music. Well, I use that phrase loosely. A music contest.
Yeah. I know. Oh, hang on. Oh, look. Oh,
here we go.
United Kingdom have got 4 points.
4 points.
My goodness me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's.
I'd say.
And how many points does the leader have?
Right. It's my goodness. It's Switzerland 107. Ireland are now second. They've just moved up. Ireland are now second.
Well, Ireland are going to be feeling very nervous at the moment because I think they won it like 10 years in a row, something like that. It practically bankrupted that entire country putting on that stupid show every year.
That's right. And, now the Irish entry, normally it's not my kind of thing, but I actually quite liked it. It's very... esoteric Celtic Gothic, you know what I mean? And
every single picture of every single act that I've seen in the papers look like they've all escaped or were rejected from the circus. It looks like a freak show to me.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Oh, well, keep us updated there, Isaac. So the leaders have got 100 and something, and we've got 4. Which is probably exactly what we deserve. Thanks a lot, mate. Phil says Keir Starmer has been and is transforming the Labour Party from a left-of-centre Social Democratic Party into a right-wing party. Nobody wants to believe it, but it's happening in plain sight. Well, I don't know about right-wing party, but they're certainly middling, which, you know, is where most people are in this country. About 13%, maybe 15% are very, very right-wing. Probably the same number are very, very left-wing, and most of the rest of us are lumped in the middle. And you vote for whichever party you think is going to give you more money, which is why the Tories continue to win over and over again, because they pretend that they're interested in how much money you've got in your pocket. And if that is the case, if they are interested in how much money you've got in your pocket, it's only because they want to take it. This text says, in honour of the new series of Doctor Who tonight, I'd like to welcome the Master, new Labour MP for Gallifrey. I have no idea what you're talking about. Are you talking about a children's television programme? Stop watching that, tripe. If you stop watching it, they'll stop making it. I promise that's true. This one says, maybe not good for radio hits, but the Northern Lights are visible over a lot of the UK. Well, so you say. I haven't seen it myself. I'll believe it when I see it. Mark in Epsom says, Nick, part of the problem is that you have just described Labour as the opposite party. I don't think Labour are opposite to the Tories. They're alongside each other in many ways. Yeah, well, we've got many of the same people as members, apparently. This says, one of your callers was partially right, and so are you. Nobody votes for individuals locally, but they do nationally. No, they don't. So at least the general election, at the last general election, a lot of people voted Tory because of Johnson, regardless of who their local Tory MP was. Well, that's precisely what I was saying. I know that technically you don't vote for for your Prime Minister. You vote for MPs and they get together in a group, and whoever's got the biggest group gets to choose the Prime Minister. You know, whoever that might be.
Absolutely.
Whatever catastrophic shambles they select.
Yeah. Wait.
But people I don't think that people do vote for the local MP. They vote for the party of their choice, and whoever the local MP is, well, he or she gets their vote. But I just do not believe that that's how people make a decision as to who they're going to vote for, depending on who their local MP is. I think it's irrelevant. But partly because their local MP isn't going to make their own minds up on any of the issues. They're just going to do what they're told by the Prime Minister of the day. I mean, if you look at the website They Work For You, you'll see how your MP has voted on the issues. And I can pretty much guarantee that every single time they voted in the precise same way as all of the other MPs in their party. They just move as though they don't have a single solitary personal thought in their brains. It kind of makes you think, well, what's the point of them? Why don't we just have the Prime Minister and he can just, or she, sexist, can just rule us as a dictator? Because if all of their underlings just do what they're told and vote accordingly, then what's the point of them all? Pradeep says, I have just one simple question. Who wins the crown for lack of conviction in their ideological principles? Natalie Elphicke or Skier? I think they're going to have to share it. The Wirral, Nora.
Hi, Nick.
Nora.
I just want to, I don't want to be superior or anything.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a first. But I just want to correct the pronunciation of nil point.
Nil point, yeah.
Yeah, some people say nil point, and that means just no pairs, which doesn't make any sense in the Eurovision Song Contest.
Yes, we have no pairs.
And I would like to comment on the Slovenian costumes. I just wish I'd been there when they were giving them the dancers, because there's this multi-million pounds extravaganza, and they're dressed in surgical stockings.
Are they? Surgical stockings?
Well, fashioned into underwear. It's a very interesting outfit, but I think...
Just that? That's all they're wearing?
Literally, you'd have to see it, but just to be a fly on the wall when they were given those costumes. So, we're giving Eurovision, woo! And then they end up with...
How did it become that this show that is... It's like pornography. I mean, the pornoization.
Pornography.
No, it is. It's exactly like that. It's exactly like that. They're dressed in almost nothing at all, and they're simulating sex on stage. Okay, I didn't see. The only thing that I saw was the British entry, but I've seen many pictures. I mean, I'm wading through the Mail online. There's just 1,001 pictures of every entrant that's on there. And they all look like they've just escaped from some sort of S&M film.
Yes. Well, yeah, interesting. But there was one man didn't have anything on at all.
Well, I'm not on the bottom half. That can't be true.
I mean, you've got to watch it just for the moment.
No, definitely not going to do that.
It's the best yet, I think.
No.
Okay. If I find out, what do you want me to text you and tell you what the one was with the man with no trousers or underpants?
That can't be true.
The dog's playing tug of war with me while I'm doing this. I'm sorry, I'm a bit distracted.
All right.
So, yeah, well, if I find out, if I remember which one, you'll find out.
Let me know straight away. All right. Good work, Nora. Thanks for that. Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, it did. This text says, if Cormair Starmer nicks all the Tory MPs, does that make them the new One Nation Labour wing of the new Labour Party, or the old One Nation Tory wing of the new Labour Party? I've got no idea. You lost me after about the first sentence. And this says, hi Nick, did you see that pupils are having lessons cancelled and long lunchtime queues off because increased cyber attacks on schools? You're right, nothing works anymore. Well, the e-gates don't work no more. I had that excellent Simon Calder on my show a little while ago, and he was saying that in the upcoming bank holiday, that the e-gates might be working as normal. And I said, that'll upset a lot of people because they're broken all the time. And here it is again. The e-gate airport chaos that left thousands of Brits stranded across the UK's busiest airports was caused by the Home Office failing to tell British Telecom that it was updating its software.
Oh, fabulous.
And which clever person is in charge of the Home Office this week? Step forward, James Cleverly. Yeah, that's him. The main border force security database called Border Crossing, which was introduced just under 3 years ago at a cost of £372 million.
What?
372 million suffered a complete shutdown earlier this week. Border Force officers were forced to check passports manually with their hands against backup databases as e-gates were unable to function without access to the IT system. It's like we went back to the 1960s. Absolutely nothing works in this country. The government have given up on the plan to stop the boats. Now they're keeping the population down by stopping people getting back into the country from their holidays. Now it's been revealed that Home Office Wi-Fi outage is suspected to have caused the e-gates to crash. It was caused because it failed to tell BT about a software update. The security system at our airports is run on Wi-Fi? You have got to be kidding me. It's believed that the update overloaded the Home Office network, which then snowballed into causing the e-gate chaos on Tuesday. It's the fourth major malfunction of the system. And guess which company is behind this system, by the way? Go on, guess. Which company that has been in... I'll give you a clue. It's been in the news for the reliability issues of its software. Which company has been gifted the government contract to operate the gates that let us back into our own country? Yeah, that's right. It's the same company that provided the software that the post office used. Fujitsu. What? I'm not kidding. There seems to be only about 3 companies that this government have heard of. There's the one that they give all the contracts for prisons and offender tagging, and the one they give the consultancy contracts to, and the one they give the security contracts to, and they all fail all of the time. Yet they keep getting those delicious £100 million payouts of our money, while being fined a little bit for their continued failings. It makes you wonder why they keep getting the work, if the same government that gives them the work keeps fining them for not being very good at doing that work. Fujitsu, the firm behind the Post Office's Horizon programme, has been supporting the e-gate system since it was launched 3 years ago. Oh, well, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your support. Home Office Minister Tom Pursglove said, "The Home Secretary and I will be unswerving in our determination to ensure that every possible lesson is learned to ensure that this does not happen again." I mean, that's priceless. Even better than the usual, "we will work night and day to ensure that lessons must be learned." No, the government seem to have heard that that level of excuse doesn't cut it anymore with us poor dopes who pay taxes, you know.
The little people.
The little people, not leprechauns. So they've turned it up to 11. The Home Secretary and I will be unswerving in our determination to ensure that every possible lesson is learned to ensure that this does not happen again. Well, I'm convinced. I mean, this is just days after it happened before. Where was the unswerving determination then, eh? No idea. I mean, seriously, does anything work in this country anymore? And travel expert and journalist and friend of this show, Simon Calder, said, "At this stage, all you can do is hope for the best over the summer, but understand anyone's holiday plans can unravel." You could say that about pretty much anything in this country now. At this stage, all you can do is hope for the best. Can you drink the water coming out of your tap? Well, at this stage, all you can do is just hope for the best. There's more than 270 e-gates at 15 airports and railway stations across the country. The gates cross-check facial recognition scans with Border Force's security database. The programme checks travellers' names against terrorism records and police national computer and immigration records. Oh, it's no big deal. Just terrorism. That's all. Other than that, though, the government says that we are completely safe and there's nothing to worry about.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Everything is going extremely well.
Yeah, gap? What gap? 0345 6060 973. Sue in Birmingham says, "One good thing is it's all about numbers in the House of Commons. That nice lady and the other Tory defectors have lessened the Tories' votes in there." And Pradeep says, oh no, read that one. This text says, hi Nick, did you see that people... No, read that one. I'm way ahead of schedule, doing excellently in this particular show. Prague, hello Nigel.
Hello. Yes, I just wanted to speak to you about what Esther McVeigh said today about diversity, equity and inclusion, that they don't want that in the...
Well, that's what they're going to fight the next election on, woke issues.
Yeah, so after Brexit, you were supposed to be global Britain, and
we closed ourselves off, practically walled ourselves off from the rest of the world, and bragged that we were now global Britain. It's just comical.
Exactly. And then it's saying, yeah, so we're global Britain, but we don't want diversity, and we don't want inclusion, and we don't want equity. Yeah. And by not employing people who have that as a job, you're basically like then saying, okay, we'll let all the racists in and all the homophobics and all the rest of it, because like we're not actually going to check to see if they're actually nice people.
Yeah, I don't believe any of them actually believe any of this stuff. I don't think any of the Tory MPs who are coming out with all this woke nonsense, I don't think any of them believe it, but they think that we will.
But why would anyone vote for that?
Well, some people just live on the delicious taste of hate. They love a bit of it. It's true.
No, I understand, yeah, but it worries me. And it
worries me too, but particularly as the next party don't seem immune to that kind of thinking.
Well, yeah, that's taking the standpoint that Labour will get in.
Well, you don't think they will?
Well, of course they will.
Yeah.
But I think once they're in, I think they may then change. Like I think what they're doing at the moment is that they're playing a publicity game, and they're making sure that the newspapers and the mass media doesn't hassle them too badly. For their left-wing leanings.
Right. So they're not showing any of their left-wing leanings. They're trying to kid on that they're a right-wing part. Well, maybe they are. Maybe they're not kidding. But I think you're right. The thinking from day to day seems to be, how can we avoid getting monstered by the Daily Mail?
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I don't think, there's enough readers of the Express or the Telegraph for them to care about, but it's the Daily Mail.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Yeah, that's why they warmly accept Natalie Elphicke, because so would the Daily Mail, and they refuse to contemplate Uncle Jezza and Diane Abbott, because the Daily Mail would have a thing or two to say about them.
Yeah, true. I've got another point that I need to raise with you as well, Nick, and that's about which is the best Pink Floyd album. And I don't agree with you, because I think Animals is the better album.
Yes, well, we could sit here and argue this all night long, but I think you'll probably find that Wish You Were Here might trump Animals.
I don't think so.
The thing with Animals is it's a really angry album, and it's just so thrilling, because it came out in 1977, didn't it? At the peak of punk.
Yes, and the rework of it was just mind-blowing.
Epic, yes. It was it was the son of the... Wasn't it who did that, the rework of it? Who re-edited it?
I don't know.
I think it was the son. I may be mixing this up with the chap that redid the Beatles. In fact, I think I am. It wasn't the son of the man who produced it. It was the man himself who produced the albums, who redid them. I might have that wrong, but anyway, it's you can tell it's the album that we're talking about, because it's got the same. More or less the same picture on the cover, but it's in black and white, which is more appropriate to the album, I think, because that beautiful colour picture with the pig over the Battersea Power Station and it's all pastels and it's just lovely, is it doesn't really reflect what's in the album, because the album is so sort of aggressive.
It's very political, and it is very, as you say, it's very angry, and it's kind of like it's prog doing punk.
Yeah, kind of is. I mean, the guitar licks on like Dark Side of the Moon or Wish You Were Here are just they're kind of
they're sublime.
Yes, they're icy and sublime is a good word. But on Animals, they're very sharp and jagged. I love that album.
Yeah, for me, it's my favourite.
Right.
But I know I changed the conversation like halfway through. So.
that's fine by me. That's what this show's like. All right, good work. Thanks a lot, Nigel. 0345 6060 973. This says, Elphicke is shameless. You're right. She should resign, forcing a by-election. Yeah, how is that not the rule? You can just wake up one day and think, you know what, I'm going to change party, and not even discuss it with the people that put you in that job. It'd be like me changing this show into a classic rock show overnight without telling anybody. I actually did that once. In my first job, I did a show on Radio Luxembourg, which was a top 40 show. I just used to literally play the top 40 over and over and over again. And then somebody sent me a cassette of this talk show host in America called Neil Rogers, and I thought, wow, that's what you can do with a talk show? Couldn't believe it. And so overnight, without telling anybody, I changed a top 40 show into a talk show, and nobody said anything. No one from management blinked at all. Couldn't believe it. Well, I didn't know any better then. But now, thinking back, I cannot believe that I was allowed to do that. And that's why I'm doing this now. 0345 6060 973. Let's have Oldbury. Hello, Ranjit.
You okay?
Yes, good, thanks.
Yeah, just on that, what's her name? Natalie Elphicke, yeah? Okay. She's had an identity crisis, and all this wokery that's been going on.
Oh, yeah.
Right? She suddenly found out that inside her body and her mind, she was a Labour person after all, so that's how she can get away with it.
Deep down
right?
inside. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've got a lot of faith in just a few politicians, right? I mean,
Who?
Okay, Jeremy Corbyn.
Right.
He'd never transfer to, crossover, nor would Diane Abbott.
Not now, not ever, never, no.
Never, that would never happen. And you know what? I mean, this is like, for Sir Keir Starmer, this was like a scalping of the Tories, really. That's the only reason he's let her come across. Right? I think if I was in charge, I would have said, mate, go and do one.
Yeah, I would have said no. I mean, it's not that. I mean, they talk about a broad church, but it's not that broad. I mean, come on. And he just laying on the smarm with a trowel and saying, goading fishy Sunak that what was he saying? That I've lost my train of thought. Lost my train of thought.
I have that effect on a lot of people. Nick, the thing is, right, at the end of the day, it's like, say, Liverpool versus Everton, yeah? They don't mind who they lose against, but they don't want to lose against each other.
Right.
Yeah? And the two Man United.
I was going to say, Man United as well, yeah.
Yeah, and maybe, like, tomorrow, is it, who's playing Arsenal tomorrow? Is it Chelsea?
Is it?
Anyway,
Well, that'll be interesting.
They don't want to lose to the direct opposition,
No.
yeah? So if she had gone to reform, right, it would have been no news at all.
That would have been a perfect fit, exactly.
Yeah, right. But now that Keir Starmer is goading, right, Rishi Sunak.
Well, he was saying, what my thread of thought was, that Starmer was saying, that was criticising Sunak for putting party first and country second, which is precisely what Keir Starmer was doing by accepting in Natalie Elphicke, party first, country second.
Yeah, of course he is, definitely, because he wants the keys to 10 Downing Street, and he would sell his soul now to the devil to get that. Right?
Well, I'm not sure that's accurate.
No, he's done very... I mean, look, I'll always vote for Labour, and I agree with... and I can tell you who my MP is, right? And my MP is really good because he walks around the streets, you know, and talks to people, and he's very visible.
He's a streetwalker. Mm-hmm.
No. And you know what? Yes, on the general election, people do vote for the party, and they don't even look at who the MP is.
Yeah.
Right? But this time, I think that the Tories are going to end up being third, right? The Liberal Democrats are going to even beat them. I mean, you know, in the local elections, overall, they came third, the Tories did. Right, and you know Rishi Sunak is looking for the men in grey suits. I think he's soon going to be looking for the men in white suits when they're coming for him. Right? You know what? You know, and you know the thing is, at the end of the day, people now are really fed up. Even the guys who were blue through, even they don't want to talk about it anymore.
I get that feeling. Yeah, we just can't stand it anymore. Excuse me. We're waiting for the page to be turned, and it continue. We continue to read the same page over and over and over again. It's getting a bit dull now. So can we please go back to square one with the Labour Party? Here, Ranchette, going to have to go. Hang on. I'm going to have to go because I appear to be dying. But thanks for that.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
I enjoy working with people.
Yeah, every now and again I enjoy working with people. Mike says, is Dominic Cummings working for Sir Keir now? You know, thinking outside the box, employing weirdos. all that sort of thing. Yeah, I thought Dominic Cummings was going to start his own party. Here's his manifesto. This text says, so no room for Diane Abbott or Jeremy Corbyn, but loads of room for Natalie Elphicke. It stinks, man. Come on. Johnny says, sausage, egg and bacon walked into a bar. The bartender says, sorry, we don't serve breakfast. Oh, I've been sideswiped. Oh, I'm in actual pain right now. A listener with material.
Oh,
no. Bournemouth. Hello, Chris.
Oh, hello, Nick. How are you doing?
Good, thanks.
Right. Look, I don't want to be controversial, right? And I will... Big bat, big wobbly. Medal by Pink Floyd.
Oh.
It is their best album, Nick.
It was the start of their new sound, wasn't it? Not the I can't remember which side is. Not the first side, the second side. Echoes. Echoes was the start of their new sound.
Yeah, but like what I like about it is that like Echoes goes from like it goes through psychedelic sludge. It just moves through different sounds and different scapes, different textures.
In much the same way that Dogs does on Animals. It's a journey.
I'm not sure that there's nothing on Animals that has got anything as
spacey.
Well, no, you take Saint-Tropez. As I reach for a peach, right away, right? That is, that's pretty much jazz, isn't it? I know that's a four-letter word.
It is. I love jazz. How can you not like jazz? Not liking jazz is saying I don't like music. I don't understand people who say that.
I like big band, but I think what I like, Animals is good. The Wish You Were Here is brilliant. But to me, Medal, I just think the way that it moves through the different sounds and different genres, it's a classic. It's a work of art, Nick.
I agree completely. You'll get no argument there from me. That surprised you, didn't it?
I haven't got anything else to say, Nick.
Oh, it sounds like... there is more. Go on.
I forgot to tell you last week. I think they should leave Conservatives. This is how they get in. Missed you last week. I was listening. They've got to go for the Green vote, right? And what I mean by that is they've got to legalise cannabis.
But the Tories... the Tories aren't going to do that.
I tell you what, if they do, they will get in with a landslide. Because in Bournemouth now, I think it's illegal to not smoke it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, honestly, if you go there, Nick, you're nearly choking on this. I don't bother with it myself.
Right.
But
of course, you'd have to remind the stoners to get up and go and vote. That would be the issue with that. That's the problem there.
I think they'd remember, Nick.
Right. Okay.
To be honest. But
All right.
anyway, love the show.
Thanks a lot, Chris. Appreciate it. 0345 6060 973. I'm kind of surprised that, with the rest of the world going in that direction...
Want to score some pot?
That this country seems to refuse to even contemplate it. I think Joe Biden, is going to not legalise it on a federal level, because individual states get to say what they will and will not do about marijuana and abortion and all the rest of it. But some things are illegal on a national level, and I think he's about to reclassify marijuana to the same as like aspirin or something of that order, which would then unleash the floodgates for the business, because at the moment, if it's illegal on a state level but illegal nationally, then you can't if you run a marijuana business, then you can't have a business bank account, because it's illegal nationally and on a federal level, and the federal level is what controls banks. So I think that's a big problem with the marijuana business at the moment in America. There's a lot of companies, like all the cigarette companies for a start, would love to get into that. But at the moment, it's a bit tough for them because they can't actually have a bank account. You can't put the money through a bank, as far as I'm aware. And they're about to change that over there. And, Germany has changed, and Holland, of course, and all the Scandi countries, as far as I'm aware, and France, and did I mention Spain and Germany? Belgium, with their whole thing. The mayonnaise on chips, for crying out loud.
Disgusting.
But here, no, we're pretending that the war on drugs is something that can absolutely be won. All we have to do is punish people more, because, that works. Reality still not creeping into any of these minds. Not yet. But again, I don't believe that they think they can win the war on drugs. It's just that they don't believe that they can get away with saying anything other than the same thing that they've said over and over and over again, because they get monstered by the right-wing press. Journalists who are stoned out of their minds, who are writing tomorrow's stories in the right-wing press, will be harumphing about how dreadful it is that a government is contemplating legalising marijuana. John in Coventry says, the Tories that defect to Labour are quite simply today's news, tomorrow's chip paper, and will be forgotten. But Suit Size & Co. will want to go on until the next election, if we ever get one. Yeah, unless it's cancelled for our safety. I keep saying that, and people keep receiving that suggestion with incredulity. But, weirder things have happened and are happening at the moment. I mentioned this before. Rishi Sunak's wife has given an interview to I think it's the Telegraph. I don't think it's the Mail. I think the Mail were quoting the Telegraph. She's the daughter of a self-made billionaire, is worth more than 500 million herself, and wears designer ensembles top fashion experts claim would have given Jackie Kennedy a run for her money. But Akshata Murthy's lifestyle is not as gilded as one might think. Are you feeling vomitous already? In fact, the Prime Minister's wife rather likes the simpler things in life, like shopping at her local supermarket, enjoying watching the TV as a family, or just taking the dog for a walk. And while the Sunaks travel by train to his constituency in Richmond, North Yorkshire, they take their Tupperware leftovers with them. I bet they don't. In a video interview, they reveal that Akshata is not a morning person, and the PM often interrupts his work running the country to head back up to the number 10 flat where they live to make sure the sheets have been tucked in. I'm not making this up. He's working night and day.
The country's priority is to stop the boats. And at the same time, I think people know that I'm relentlessly focusing on stopping the boats.
As long as he isn't relentlessly focusing on tucking in the sheets. In a light-hearted exchange, Rishi Sunak says, "You just don't like making the bed and it bugs me. I actually sometimes come back into the flat from the office after we've all left to make the bed because I'll be irritated if it's not made." These are not normal people. While the Sunaks come across as a down-to-earth family, no, they don't. There are still the telltale signs of access to a significant disposable income. The Sunaks own a £7 million townhouse and a £1 million flat in Kensington, as well as a £5.5 million penthouse in California overlooking Santa Monica Pier, which they use in the holidays. There's also the £2 million mansion in Rishi's Yorkshire constituency, where he is nicknamed the Maharaja of the Dales. I bet he's nicknamed other things as well.
Disgusting.
Exactly. Of the latter, Akshata is particularly fond and prefers holidaying there than abroad. Yeah, sure she does. She reveals that she is in many ways an adopted Yorkshire woman and she feels proudly British, having lived in the UK since 2013. But not paid tax in the UK since 2013, though, eh? Here's The Guardian from 2 years ago. Rishi Sunak's wife has potentially avoided up to £20 million in UK tax by being non-domiciled and pays £30,000 a year to keep that status. Revelations that come amid growing political pressure on the Chancellor. Guardian story from 2 years ago. Akshata Murthy gets about £11.5 million a year in dividends from a stake in an Indian IT firm and declares non-dom status, which allows people to avoid tax on foreign earnings. Her spokesperson said all necessary tax was paid by Murthy, but declined to say where, as that information was, quotes, not relevant, which sounds very much like don't question us, peasant. But please, do go on about your Tupperware leftovers.
Leading Britain's conversation. Nick Abbott. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Some nobody.
Nikki in Stratford says, Nick, how comes you sound like Barry White on your podcast with Carol? Your voice is so deep and mysterious on it. How do you do that? Which voice is the real Nick? Reveal now, please. I guess it's just a different microphone. Hey, baby. I do a podcast with Carol McGiffin.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, it's called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol? It's a laugh riot. I think you'll love it. It's a problem-solving podcast. If you want us to solve your problem, send it to this address, nickandcarol@global.com. NICKANDCAROL @global.com, and prepare for total satisfaction.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol? If you want to just tune out from the never-ending misery of the news, then it will fit the bill. Believe me. It comes out on Mondays and Fridays. There's way over 100 episodes up there to enjoy. It's called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol. Bath. Hello, John.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good, thanks.
I was going to say, earlier on you mentioned the description of Rishi Sunak travelling to Yorkshire, Richmond, with his Tupperware dishes. Yeah. I think that's actually a euphemism for his staff. That's what I think, anyway. But
that sounds more believable than he's taken his leftovers with him in a plastic container.
Yeah, much more believable, Nick. And also, as well, the way you described him as well. I mean, has he got nothing better to do than straighten out sheets? He's
I
supposed
can't
to be in
believe
charge
it.
of our country.
Well, he's telling us that he's working night and day to stop the boats, apart from anything else.
Well, he seems like he's lost his ways. He seems like he has a kind of a disorder.
What he's doing is he's trying to come across like a real human being, but he doesn't know how to do that because he's never done it before.
No, well, true. I mean, listen, I'm OCD with the best of them, being, into creative things. But to come home and straighten up my sheets in the middle of a crisis that's going on during... Were you doing that during the pandemic?
The thing is, he's trying to ingratiate himself with people who aren't rich like he is. And that's the thing that he's never done before, because he doesn't care about us. He doesn't have any friends that aren't millionaires. In fact, he probably looks down his nose at people who aren't billionaires. So he's really a fish out of water when he's trying to talk to people who don't have a lot of money because he's never done that before. He's actually not a real person. I suspect he's a robot.
But Nick, automaton that he is, careful what you say earlier on in your career. It comes back to haunt you. It's like when he said that I don't know anybody that's working class.
Right. No, he's friends. He said, I have upper class friends and middle class friends and working class friends. Oh, well, no, actually not working class friends.
I mean, what does that tell you?
Well, it just tells me that I don't think you can read too much into that because people just surround themselves with people who are just like them. It's just that there's so few people who are... Hang on a minute. There's so few people that are like him that his friend pool is vanishingly small.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, listen, one thing I won't miss at the end of this election, if it ever comes, is going to be the sound bites of I've got a plan, stop the boats, and all this like automaton-based, flashcards.
Top priority.
It's the country's number one priority.
Keep on telling us that what our number one priority is, and whatever it is that he is saying it isn't.
But you know the worst thing is, Nick, is that I remember thinking, I can't stand to hear Theresa May speak. And then up came Boris. And then I couldn't stand
Wait. I know.
And then Liz Truss. And then it just seems like you think it can't get any worse.
And then it does.
It does. They seem to have a cesspit that they're dragging these people
It's like they've got a list of the world's most annoying people, and they're just going through it, and increasingly annoying as they go down the list.
I mean, I understand as well, Nick, that this business about Keir Starmer embracing this right-wing woman into the party and stuff. I don't know how much of that is party politics and game.
100% of it, I would imagine.
Yeah. But it's just, I just look at it like this. If the shoe were on the other foot and it was a Labour member of Parliament crossing the benches, Rishi Sunak couldn't contain himself.
Oh, no, he'd do a little giddy dance, Yeah,
in his tight suit, ill-fitting suit.
I know. It's a made-to-measure suit. We just don't know who it's made to measure.
It's somebody twice smaller than him.
Yeah. Twice smaller than him,
And I don't want to see ankles on anybody.
Anybody at all, ever. Not now, not ever, never.
No, I'm funny like that.
Yeah. All right, thanks a lot, John. Ta-da. 0345 6060 973. Simon in Windsor says, Nick, you know when you're getting old when you start shouting at the television during question time? No, you know you're watching the wrong programme, is what you are... that's a sign. Breaking news, Switzerland are music champions of the world. Because Europe now apparently includes Israel and Australia. How are they in that show, by the way? How is Eurovision including Australia and Israel? How? But anyway, Switzerland have won. Isn't that great?
No.
Aren't you totally thrilled?
Negative.
Is it over yet?
Yes.
Apparently so. Finally. What will people talk about tomorrow? I've got absolutely no idea. Nikki in Stratford says, oh no, I read that one. That's about me sounding like Barry White. Hey, baby. Jeff in Liverpool says, congrats, Nick. You finally realised that Starmer is a fraud, deceptive, evasive and a Tory. They are all the same after all. No, they're not. I mean, they may be similar, but similar isn't the same. And anyway, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter at this point. It has to change. I mean, the country has decided. And it's no surprise. I mean, they should not be shocked, the Conservative Party. They've been screwing things up for 14 years. And you can only take it for so long. I mean, even if they had been great for 14 years, even if everything had worked perfectly, if they were doing tremendously well, if we were all considerably richer, if the NHS was better than it used to be, if the trains arrived on time, or ever, if there was no discontent, even then people would be up to their eyeballs with the Tories, and they wouldn't want to hear Titchy Suitsai say one single solitary syllable from this moment on for the rest of time. We just want to change. That's all. It's the human condition. It's like you can only listen to the same song about, shall we say, 60 or 70 times before you get bored of it, depending what it is. I mean, if it's the Brotherhood of Man, then one will do. If it's Diana Ross, then maybe several dozen before you get bored of it. 0345 6060 973. Let's see now. It would probably be unfair to take a call now before the news because it would be so very, very close and it wouldn't give them a time to breathe. So I'll do some more of these texts and emails, of which there's only 7 pages to go. Oh, my God. Wait a minute. Have I not done any from tonight yet?
No, we are not yet, on to Saturdays, no.
Oh, what? These are all last nights I've been reading. Oh, no. Well, I'm really going to have to start picking up speed. This text from Matt says, I definitely saw the Aurora Corona ejection thingy. Amazing sight over rural Northamptonshire. I saw nothing. I'm very, very disappointed. Tim in Tottenham says, driving around London for work tonight and I looked at the sky earlier and I couldn't decide if I was looking at the northern lights or weird clouds. I had no idea we were likely to see the lights tonight, so it must have been it. It. Lucy says, Elphicke's defection to Labour and stand against Rwanda could encourage more votes from right-wingers. Labour needs all the votes it can get to win. 5 more Tory years is too scary. Square one, please, says Lucy. She can't wait. Scott in East Kilbride says, Northern Lights on full display above the house in East Kilbride. However, my Wi-Fi is getting knocked out. Protons, he says. Whatever is going on is amazing.
Yowza.
Heather in Bromley says, hi, Nick. Just seen lovely purple, blue, red, green and Northern Lights in Bromley in Kent.
Groovy.
Plus a bonus long streak shooting star. Wow. And finally, from last night, I can't believe that all this time I've been reading last night's texts and tweets. Sally says, Nick, a woman rang up LBC earlier and said she'd always voted Tory, but when she saw Elphicke had been welcomed by Labour, she thought she might be too. So she listened to Keir Starmer, she thought he sounded very nice, and she's going to vote Labour now. OK, not the brightest bulb in the box, but still. And on that very insulting note, that's last night's texts and tweets.
Thank you.
So I'll embark on the 56 pages of texts and tweets that have come in from listeners from tonight's show. I'm exhausted. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global. Leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Colin says, hey, Nick, with the Northern Lights being prominent in the sky, do you think our politicians might be receptive to a more Scandinavian approach to sharing the wealth about a bit? Well, let's ask.
No.
It's a no from them.
Yes.
John says, how much more of a waste of money can there be than paying for a Minister for Common Sense? Exactly. My thoughts precisely. Minister for Common Sense. I mean, if it is common, then why do you need a minister? I mean, surely it would be imbued in all of the departments of government. Why do you need an extra person in order to find some? It's like having an extra person in order to find a Brexit benefit.
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
I don't know. I mean, I agree with this bloke.
How do we allow this country to be properly run and raise the standard of living for all our voters? By taking it away from the unaccountable and the pious platitudes of pompous politicians which have been running this country for too long.
Correct. How he can say that out loud without realising he's talking about himself, I don't know. Maybe he's just trolling us. Pompous politicians.
Voters have had enough.
I couldn't agree more. Can we go back to square one straight away?
Voters have had enough, and they are saying, up with this, I will not put.
No. We've had it up to here. This says, Nick, help, I'm being oppressed. I'm being forced to watch Eurovision. Well, it's over now, mate. You've got another year to go. Don't worry about it. Switzerland won, eh? Who cares? Ahmed says, had a fantastic day out. Switzerland. When was the last time anybody was remotely interested in music that came from Switzerland? I bet if I put a gun to your head, you wouldn't be able to name one single musical act that came from Switzerland. Go on, name one. I double dare you. Can't be done. Ahmed, because that's the thing about European music, is nobody wants to listen to it, do they? In France, I don't know if this is still true, but they had to create a law that made French radio stations play French music because otherwise they wouldn't have done it, because nobody wants to hear it. Even French people don't want to hear French music. It's weird that okay, we have the English language, but that doesn't mean that you necessarily are able to make a great tune. But isn't it weird that the English-speaking countries are preeminent in modern music? Okay, Australia's got a bit, not a lot, and I don't think you can really count AC/DC because, Scottish. But, okay, I'll give you AC/DC. Other than that, not much. But America and Britain, there's no other country on the planet that competes with us. For head of population, we are number one. There's absolutely no question about it. But does anybody want to hear German pop music?
No.
No. How about Belgian?
No.
No. Chris says, hi, Nick, did you see that Home Office staff have spent £756 of taxpayers' money on board games?
What?
A government spokesman insisted the expenditure was for professional services. We got a minister for common sense who's yakking on about saving the public's money. Well, how about retiring would be a good idea. Resigning with immediate effect would save us some money. New Malden. Hello, Ahmed.
Oh, hello, Nick. Hopefully, I'm going to liven the evening a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, as far as this Eurovision song contest is concerned, am I bothered?
Am I bothered?
No.
No.
I'm not bothered. What's all the fuss about? They might as well give it to Australia or Israel.
Yeah.
Come there, all their, then, there'll be no question of any protest and demonstration.
Right. Well, I don't care about any of that. If there's one thing that I am looking forward to, though, is not watching next year's episode of that mess.
It's just such a farce, I think. It's just not, But that's not the reason I call.
Right.
I hear Honourable Foreign Secretary, Lord David Cameron, he's on a freebie trip to the countries nobody ever heard of.
Yeah, or could spell.
Or could spell, indeed.
Kyrgyzstan. Go on, then. Try it. I bet. I double dare you. Try Kyrgyzstan. Go on.
Oh, my God. Kyrgyzstan?
Yeah, don't even attempt it. No.
Well, he might as well, he could have just gone to Timbuktu or Rwanda.
Yeah.
Rwanda, why couldn't he go there?
How about France? France is nearer. They got more stuff that we want.
Yeah, he could do a day trip there, in fact.
Exactly.
We are so skint. We have no money, and he's offering £50 million. Does he not know we don't have the empire anymore? We are not a superpower. we are just put of USA now.
Well, that marks you out as a traitor, Ahmed, to even suggest that we are not a superpower anymore, that we do not strut about the world stage, giving it the big I am. People just cannot get used to the fact that we're a tax avoidance racket off the coast of Europe. That's what we do for a living.
Well, yes. I mean, this government, can they do anything right? I don't think so.
Well, they've had 14 years of attempts at doing something right, and so far not much, but, there's still time.
Chris Green, he awarded a contract to a fellow company which had no ships. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, I do remember that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, for heaven's sake.
For heaven's sake, yeah. There was an excuse, but I can't recall what it was. I think it was he gave vast amounts of money to a company for ships who didn't have ships, but they knew a man who did.
Oh, dear.
Something like that.
Well, also the PPE saga. I mean, they've given billions of pounds to countries who have had no experience in this.
Right. Well, you know what they should spend billions of pounds on is the telephone infrastructure, because I can barely hear a word that you're saying, Ahmed, but, that is completely par for the course, because nothing works in this country. If you call me from a different country, you'll come through clear as a bell. I guarantee it. But if you call me from this country, even if it's just down the road, I won't be able to hear anything that you say. But good effort, Ahmed. I'm blaming the equipment. Not your fault. Linda texts, Nick, you're not happy with all the male flesh on Eurovision. Well, women have had to dance around in their pants for decades, so it's time the blokes had a go, says Linda. You know what? I don't think women have had to dance around in their pants. I guess what I find weird about pop stars, women pop stars, I mean, they can be at the top of their tree. They can be the world's most successful artists, and they're still dancing around in their underwear. So it's not men that are telling them to do it. They are presenting themselves in that way. Oh, and by the way, please take me seriously as an artist. Well, it's difficult. Adrian says, been watching Series 3 of Clarkson's Farm. See, now Jeremy Clarkson doesn't he doesn't gyrate around in his pants, does he?
Disgusting.
Nobody wants to see that, Jezza. He says, did you know that pigs lie to their piglets and kill them? And they even eat them? Now, only if mothers of members of the Tory party did the same. Wow, that got dark all of a sudden, didn't it? I thought it was going to be light and happy and, farming stories. It took a nasty turn right at the end there. I can't believe it. Julie says, I saw James O'Brien in Sheffield. I told him I was going to listen to you at 10, and he said, good man, send him my love. So I am doing, says Julie. He called you good man. Huh. I'm not sure how I would take that, Julie, but you seem okay with it. Ilford, hello, Shab.
Hello, Nick.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me loud and clear? I know the last call I had a bit of a problem.
A little bit of a problem, yes.
Is you all right now? Can you hear me loud and clear?
You are coming through clear as a bell.
No, you know what? I was listening to you, and it's just so wonderful to see the country which is actually in Europe and where the European live won the Eurovision Song Contest. And I think it was so wonderful because, I'm useless at geography, right?
Yeah.
Never conquer. And I used to believe Israel and Australia were actually in Europe.
Yes. Well, yes, they must be.
Yeah, somebody pointed out to me they're not. And then It makes me wonder, how come, they're taking part?
Well, I think that those coronal ejections have probably messed with your satellite GPS, and there's something wrong with your map, Shab. You want to recheck it. That's my best advice. Thanks a lot, mate. Swiss music. Seriously, does anybody want to hear that?
No.
No. Not now, not ever, never. What Swiss music is there? There was Edelweiss by Engelbert Humperdinck, but that was about a flower in Switzerland. It wasn't actual Swiss music. Has any band from Switzerland ever had a hit of any kind or produced any modern music of significance in history? I'm waiting. 0345 6060 973. Sean says, Nick, I voted for Brexit on the understanding that we could return to using LSD. Do you mean pounds, shillings and pence or LSD? Groovy. Because I'm not sure the two are connected if it's the latter. Although it would explain a lot of bizarre things that have been happening in this country lately, eh? Yeah, it absolutely would. Is this real life or am I hallucinating? Tristan says, I was wondering if I could bum a lift off Lord Hammeron. You know, that's the first time I've heard that. Is that your material, Tristan? Lord Hammeron? That has never occurred to me, and I'm quite upset about that. If I could bum a lift off Lord Hammeron next time he pops out of the country on the country's private jet. This is the problem with rich people. It's cheaper to be rich because you get everyone else to pay for everything. Ain't that right, Bodge?
I can't comment on that.
Blah, 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 blah. Exactly. Rich people don't pay for nothing. And they don't pay their taxes like an ordinary person does either. That's how they stay so rich. The game is rigged. Cheryl says, I saw the NLs down here in Sussex last night. Oh, the Northern Lights. We're so familiar with them now, we're calling them the NLs. I did not know that. David says, can you settle an argument? My mate thinks Rishi Sunak is a small human, but I think he's a large rodent. Who is right? Yeah, neither of you are right. You're both wrong. Angus says, how about announcing something useful tonight regarding Glasgow's skies? I'm stuck in a basement flat. Let me know, please, immediately if Glasgow tells you an aurora borealis has begun. Well, I would imagine Glasgow would be the perfect place to see it, assuming that it's not raining. It's not cloudy, and I'm guessing that it will be, but I can check on that. I mean, as you are in a basement, I will do your work for you. Oh, it's cloudy. It's not cloudy at the moment, apparently, but it will be cloudy off and on for the rest of the night. So you may actually see it. And while you're there, it will be raining later tonight, and raining tomorrow, and raining on Monday, and raining on Tuesday, and raining on Wednesday, and raining on Thursday, and raining on Friday, and raining on Saturday, and not raining next Sunday. Pfft, rubbish. But raining every day after that for the rest of your life. I would get out of that basement straight away and get to higher ground. You're going to need a boat.
This is LBC. Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Hang about, Nick. Listen. Now, what I'm trying to say to you is this, Nick, right?
Dan texts, Nick, do you think that Titchy was able to stand on a stool and see the Northern Lights last night? It's funny because it's ridiculous. That's why it's funny. Val says, just so you know, the RSPB, the Royal Society for the Prevention of Birds, is a campaigning organisation that can give you advice but doesn't have rescue officers. The RSPCA has officers that can come out and rescue creatures, but most locally based rescue groups agree they rarely respond. Well, they didn't respond to me, that's for sure. They couldn't have cared less. I was trying to save some little ducklings, the stupid ducks. And they weren't remotely interested. What would I have done with them if the local wetlands centre had said, we're not interested either? I mean, this was a while ago, and some stupid duck gave birth on my balcony, which was about 4 floors up, above solid concrete. How there are so many ducks in the world, I just don't know. They're such morons. And so when the ducklings got ready to, go swimming, they would throw themselves out of a tree, I would imagine, is what a duckling would normally... do they have nests in trees? I've got no idea. I don't care as long as they don't bother me again, ever. But all of those ducklings would have died if they'd thrown themselves off my balcony because it's concrete below, 4 floors below. They would not have bounced like a rubber ball. But they couldn't even do that because they couldn't get up over the ledge of the balconies to get to a position where they could throw themselves off. So I was trying to catch them, and you couldn't. Could not catch those things. They just run away so quickly. And I didn't want to, like grab at them because I might hurt them, poor little things. So I called the RSPB, and they weren't interested, and I called the RSPCA, and they couldn't care less. And if the Wetlands Centre hadn't come, what would have happened? But they would have just died. I'd have had little skeletons of ducklings, like, scattered all over the place. Awful. Graham says cats should be banned from other people's gardens. If pet owners can't keep their bird-torturing moggies on their own property, I suggest they buy an animal they can keep in the house. Like a boa constrictor, for instance. There was some harumphing old geezer said pretty much precisely that. Hang on a minute. I have detailed files. A Tory peer has demanded a total ban on cat flaps to protect birds from their hunting habits. Lord Blencathra also said collars with bells should be compulsory for felines so they can't sneak up on prey. The intervention came as the ex-minister sounded alarm that cats allowed to roam freely were killing 60 million garden birds a year. It was, it's a bloke called David John McLean, Baron Blencathra, who's concern about animals does not cover all animals. He worked extensively with the pro-hunting group Vote OK, with the aim of having the Hunting Act of 2004 repealed, the act that banned hunting animals with dogs. So cats hunting, bad. Dogs hunting, good. I guess the difference is that toffs can't ride along with cats on their hunt. And at the time he said about not being able to charge around after foxes. He said it's more an issue of ruining a way of life that has been a tradition here for 300 years and a part of who we are. It's about freedom of choice. We should all have the freedom of choice to kill the animal of our selection. That's not him saying that, that's me. And I don't mean that. During a Lord's debate on legislation that would create 2 new offences of cat and dog abduction in England and Northern Ireland, the peer insisted he was a cat lover. But he argued there was no justification whatsoever for owners to take a laissez-faire attitude by letting their pet go in and out when it pleases. Well, just back up a bit. I mean, with everything that's going on in the world, those harumphing stuffed shirts in the House of Lords are charging us to debate whether abducting someone's pet should be a separate crime as opposed to the crime it already is. What's the point of all of this making something a crime when it is already a crime? It's just a bunch of I'm gonna. The suggestion was knocked back by Labour's Environment spokeswoman Baroness Hayman of Ulloch, who's a real person, not just something I made up. Baroness Hayman of Ulloch said her own cat was rather frightened of birds after being terrorised by a chicken. Presumably the cat was terrorised, not Baroness Hayman. Lord Blencathra offered his full support to the bill before backing a call from Natural England chairman Tony Juniper, for cats to wear bells. I wonder if a cat would like like an accompaniment wherever it goes. He said, all independent studies suggest that cats allowed to go out and wander at will kill about 260 million mammals per annum in the UK. Wow. 260 million. Blimey. And they're not hungry, are they? They just do it for, well, I was going to say fun, but it's probably not fun. But, you know, it's their instinct, isn't it? Cats. I mean, I like cats, love cats, but they're quite vicious, nasty little things, aren't they? I mean, when they're interacting with us, it's all like, oh, stroke me. I'm so, you know, I'm so loving and fluffy. But put them in the same room as a mouse and they'll torture it to death. So Lord Blencathra said, I would make collars and bells compulsory for cats let outside. I'd ban cat flaps completely. He says, don't call yourself a cat lover if you've got no idea where your cat goes at night, where it can be attacked, run over, catch fleas, diseases, and kill precious wildlife. Well, I know an expert on catching fleas.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Any thoughts, Bodge? Animals are regarded as property under existing theft legislation, with campaigners arguing for the emotional value of pets to be recognised, as well as the distress caused if they're stolen. They're illegal already. You're going to make them illegal. You're going to make taking pets illegal-er. The bill would make it an offence to take a dog or a cat from the lawful control of another person, with offenders facing a maximum prison sentence of 5 years. It moved closer to becoming law after receiving an unopposed second reading in the Lords, having previously cleared the House of Commons. Lord Blencathra suggested possible changes to the penalties, including a guaranteed £5,000 fine, irrespective of an individual's ability to pay, and harsher punishments if 2 or more people are involved. And you might think that people who hurt animals should be prosecuted. He said the extra penalties will never ever happen, because once the rather wet, woke, liberal Sentencing Council produce their sentencing guidelines, no one will ever get the maximum, and the average sentence will be watered down to a few £100 and it will not be paid. And you might think that people who hurt animals should be prosecuted, but the wet, woke liberals won't allow it. And we should ignore the wet, woke liberals and come down hard on those who hurt animals. All except the killing of the ones that provide a weekend's amusement for the rich, of course. I mean, I'm just curious, what happens to the hunting dogs after the season ends and they're no use anymore? When they're too old to chase foxes out of their holes and they can't keep up with the horses? Are they retired to a life of safe contentment? Or are they shot in the head and dumped in a bin? 0345 6060 973. Graham says, cats... no, read that. That's why I went on to the cat flap thing. Cats should be banned from other people's gardens. Dave says, how's that brilliant trade deal with Canada going? Oh, yeah, just as well as you imagined.
Dreadful.
Yeah, it isn't. He says, the one that the Canadians knew nothing about. Yeah. Do you think that Kemi Badenoch has done any of her other great trade deals that exist only in her mind? Hey, what's going on with that computer? Are we... it just went weird there for a minute. Did you see that? Oh, I wonder if we've been subject to an coronal ejection. David says, Sir Keir is simply trying to turn Labour into a broad church. So what if this Tory defector has political beliefs to the right to the right of Satan? I didn't know that. To the right of Satan, you say? The stuff you learn on this show. Educational, no?
No.
Simon says, Nick, you couldn't see the Northern Lights with the naked eye. It has to be through a smartphone camera. Oh, well, that is true, yeah. If you haven't taken a picture of it on your phone, it doesn't exist. And Steve says, hey Nick, can we have a ministry for funny walks, or is that not PC these days? Yeah, the Minister for Common Sense is trying to save the public money. Well, resigning immediately would have that effect. Thank you for your cooperation.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Hello, number please. Trying to connect you. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Yes, I am currently trying to connect a bloke called Glenn in Brentford. Hello, Glenn.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thanks.
No, I just wanted... did you like Eurovision?
Did I like it? I didn't see it.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't see it at all. I thought it was quite good. I thought it was quite good fun.
Quite good? Right. Which bit was good?
All of it.
That's not true, is it?
No, it was. I mean, no, the UK was a bit bad. You know,
Awful.
why do we always send someone who can't sing in tune? Is my question.
I've no idea. You think that? I mean, this is a country that punches above its weight in almost nothing except modern music. So why can't we find somebody who's actually, really good?
Well, but we seem to do good staging, but we don't do good singing.
Good staging? Are you kidding me? That was it was practically obscene. It was like a nightmare in an S&M dungeon.
Exactly. It looked like the start of the Saw movie at the start. Exactly. That's what I mean. Good staging.
Terrible.
But no good singing.
No. Well, I've got no idea. I didn't stick around long enough to hear him.
But that's
best on mute. Best on mute and off.
No, but the reason why I'm calling is, a lot of people that say, "Oh my God, it's a festival of homosexuality," blah blah blah. The cloud of homosexuality that's covered London and places last night or the night before.
Oh, the Northern Lights. Is that what you're talking about? The roaring borealis. Yeah. Pink and yellow and green and blue. Yeah, you think that Tories would be absolutely furious about that? They've got a rainbow flag in the sky.
Like, oh my God, there's a rainbow in the sky.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, did the woke people pay for this?
The sky's gone woke.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Can you imagine, Suella Braverman? I mean, she must be mad now.
They're going to ban the sky. I wouldn't put it past them. It would be front page of the Daily Mail tomorrow. Sky goes woke. Thanks a lot, Glenn. Howard texts, Nick, Minister for Common Sense, there'll be a Minister for Silly Walk soon. There are already ministers for idiotic decisions. Well, that is absolutely right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Declan emails, Nick, I reckon the Labour Party is becoming the left wing of the Tory party. Yeah, well, that's about right. I mean, those are our choices. Select. There's no point in complaining about it. It's either one or the other. Realistically, which one are you going to choose? Stan says, hi Nick, can you please replicate your Radio Luxembourg days by speaking really softly for a while and then speaking really loudly? Yeah, I remember those days as a kid with one earpiece in under the bedclothes, listening to them fade all the way out so you could barely hear what they're saying anymore, and then coming out really, really loudly. Yeah. Radio Luxembourg. Coventry. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Nick.
Paul.
Belgian pop.
Yes.
They don't exactly have they're not even hitting at their weight in terms of entries, but there are two notable Belgian popsters.
Go on.
Plastique Bertrand.
Not notable. One hit, and that was embarrassing.
Oh, it was a great song.
Ça plaint pour moi.
Indeed.
I can't believe I pulled that one out of the air.
Oh, it's great. It's a classic. It's glorious Euro nonsense.
Okay. Oh, we got an echo.
Oh, nothing to do with me, I'm afraid.
I think that we are being affected by the corona ejection.
Do you feel more woke?
Doubly so.
I saw it earlier. Somebody accusing the Aurora of being woke. It's just incredible.
Yeah.
And the other Belgian. That's how notable Belgium is. I called them France.
Mm-hmm.
The other notable Belgian is Jacques Brel.
Right. Well, that's I wouldn't say there was pop. Oh, this is very infuriating. Can anybody hear the? Is it just me, or the echo is going out over the radio?
Oh dear! I hate it when that happens.
Yeah, me too. All right, Paul, I've got to go because this is frying my brain. Can't stand that for a single solitary. See what I'm saying? Nothing works in this country. How is that even possible? We've got an echo on the line. It's like doing a show in Switzerland. There's an echo everywhere. Steve says, I was so sad to see the violent clashes in the audience this evening at the Eurovision Song Contest. Some of the guys in the crowd had bright pink jumpers on with purple trousers. Clashes. Get it? Funny, no?
No.
A listener with material.
Oh, no.
0345 6060 973. Northolt. Hello, John.
Hello, you right?
Yes, good, thanks.
I'm not really interested in these animals and all of that stuff.
No.
Or in the common sense minister either, but
Yes.
what I've been doing this evening is looking through the Northern Lights. I can't find them, so I was just wondering if you could put a question out, seeing if anyone's seen them. And, well, it's good to see them.
I could, not anywhere near where you are, apparently. I think you're going to have to go north, young man.
Oh, man, that's a bit hard. All right. Fair play.
All right. You're going to have to go north of Northolt, if there is indeed such a place.
Yeah, Northolt's West London, so yeah.
It's in West London. Right, okay, well...
West London, yeah.
Yeah, north of west. Northwest. North by northwest. Try that.
Oh, man, nice one.
All right, thanks a lot, John. Yeah, I couldn't see nothing last night. I was very, very disappointed. Because I've always wanted to see it, but I'm definitely not going to do one of those boat trips up to where it's cold. Or in fact, anywhere where it's cold by any method of travel. Because, we got cold enough, I've got cold up to my eyeballs in this country already. It's like, hang on a minute. It's way cold enough already in this country without, on holiday, going somewhere that's colder. So it's a no from me. So I thought, well, better than me going to see the Northern Lights come to see me. But they didn't come down this far. Although the people in Surrey were saying that they could see them. So how come they missed me? Not that I'm complaining or anything.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
I've got a frog in my throat. All night long. All night long.
Stop whining.
Will text, no wonder the Sunaks have so much money. They're so tight with it. Tupperware leftovers and someone else's helicopter. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, his first-class 5-star luxury travel arrangements paid for by us poor dopes who pay taxes.
The little people. But it ain't like you think. It ain't leprechauns, don't you see? It's little men from Mars or somewhere. And it ain't a toadstool there under. It's a spaceship.
A spaceship. John says, after the result of tonight's Eurovision Song Contest, Sweden has declared war on Switzerland. Well, they've had it coming for a while. You know, what with that whole Swiss thing. Archie says, Nick, get a grip. Switzerland gave us cling film. What more do you want? Cling film. That's a Swiss thing, is it? Says who? I don't believe that cling film is a Swiss thing, is it? And Phil says, hi, Nick, I don't know much about Switzerland, but the flag is a big... Oh, God. Oh, that just hit me in the face like a wet fish. I don't know much about Switzerland, but the flag is a big plus. Oh, God. I am in pain. Lavinia Grace, Bermondsey. Lavinia.
Oh, hi, my lovely. How are you?
I don't know. I appear to be dying. I have a frog in my throat.
Oh, God, I can't get the words out now, Nick. You and me both, actually, because I feel exactly like you do right now.
I think that
anyway,
maybe there's something in the air. I think it's like pollen or something like that. I've been affected.
Why is that, do you think? Is it because there's something in the air, do you reckon, Nick?
That's what I'm saying. There is something in the air, like pollen.
Okay, but what I'd like to say, I'd like to have a little chat with you, if that's okay.
Okay.
Well, what I'd like to say, you keep me hanging on a piece of string.
Yeah, this ain't a chat.
Please don't
Hey,
let
Lavinia,
me drop.
Lavinia, it's not a chat.
What?
Singing is not chatting.
No, I'm not. You know what it is, though, Nick? What it is, I have a stammer, right? And what you need to understand is if I
If you sing it, then the stammer goes. Isn't that weird?
Exactly.
Isn't that strange?
So,
how that works?
Yeah. So what I don't like, I hate it when I hear my voice stuttering.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not very nice.
Does it work if you don't sing but you are thinking of the song while you're saying it?
No, not really.
Oh.
If I just come out with it, just like that.
Yeah.
And just sing it sort of fluently.
Right.
Yeah.
Then it works.
Sing is that you keep me hanging on a piece of string.
I know, that is so
Please
bizarre.
don't
Yeah,
let
okay.
me drop.
You must stop
I'll
singing.
give you anything I've got.
You must stop singing now. That is so.
Anyway, Nick,
that is so strange that the brain allows you to form a sentence if you sing it, but you have difficulty if you say it. Psychologists need to look into that.
Can I say something to you, Nick, please?
Go on.
Because it's important.
Is it?
What I want to say about my stammer, if there's anybody out there that has a stammer, okay, or a stutter,
yes,
stammer or stutter, it's more or less the same, right? But what I want to say, I'm actually nearly 70, right?
Nearly 70 years old. Yeah.
Yeah, nearly 70, right? But it's never, ever left me, that stammer. And do you want to know something that's really weird, Nick?
No.
I've had people saying to me, no, listen to this, right? I've had people saying to me in the past, a lot of men and also women, saying to me they find it very sexy, my stammer.
Is that right?
Yeah, and it's also very unusual. Did you know that?
What, that they find you sexy or that you have a stammer?
Both.
Right.
Both, Nick.
Both.
But what I want to say, Nick, it's important for me to say this, right?
Is it?
If there's anybody who has a stammer,
yes,
do not let it get you down, because at
Right.
the end of the day, I'm here.
You're still you.
Yes, and it's part of me.
Right.
And all I'm going to say, anybody out there that has a stammer who is afraid to speak to Nick or LBC,
Yeah.
do you know what I want to say, Nick? You know, this is so important. Me actually phoning LBC.
I tell you what, Lavinia Grace, you are communicating perfectly, but your phone is failing on you. Like I said, no, it's not your fault. It's nothing works in this country.
Well, how about if I take you on the balcony? How's that?
Excuse me?
If you speak to you on the balcony, Nick, how's that? Is that better now?
It's a better way of putting it, yeah. Yeah, Lavinia, I've got to go, but thanks for everything, except the singing part.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Come on, we're running late.
We are running late. Phil texts, Nick, I don't know much about Switzerland. Oh, I read that one. Don't make me read that again. Laurie says, double with the song Captain of My Heart are from Switzerland. Frank called to say double with the song Captain of My Heart are from Switzerland. Huh. Well, I remember that song. Don't ask me to sing it, but I do recall that. And they're from Switzerland, eh? They're Swiss people. Who knew? Adrian says, dear Nick, how very dare you? Australian music is right up there, or rather down under, with NXS and Crowded House and Iggy Azalea. Who's that? Men at Work, I know them. And obviously the Goddess of Melbourne. Who's that? And Frank Ifield, though I don't remember him. I remember you. Frank Ifield was Australian. I had no idea. Mary says, Nick, I watched the voting in the Eurovision on mute while listening to you. I hope you appreciate my multitasking. Switzerland won, but I felt quite neutral about it. Oh. This is getting painful. Bromley. Hello, Simon.
Hey, Nick. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
I've got a question for you. Tonight there's been, I don't know if it's the Northern Lights or the Eurovision Song Contest,
yeah,
but how do you carry a show with such a dearth of awful questions and keep it going? Surely you must just sit there going, how do I keep this amusing and keep the show going on?
A dearth of questions or callers? You mean callers?
Well, I don't know, no insult to the callers, but yes, you need something to riposte off, don't you?
To bounce off. Yeah, it helps.
Yeah, exactly. And
Well, I tell you what, the news has been it's been either incredibly boring or incredibly depressing, the news lately. I mean, there's been precious few things to actually sort of get your teeth into since the local elections. And, I do need something to bounce off for best performance. You are quite right. And there's been precious little around to have a bounce off.
So how about this? How about you want to bounce something off me and maybe I can come back with something to you and help you out?
OK, well, I'll go find a rubber ball and come bouncing back to you as soon as I get one.
Let's go to Starmer, moving into the left, whatever. Should we mention that, perhaps? Eurovision Song Contest, Northern Lights. I think they're watching Northern Lights this evening.
Right, I think I've talked the Northern Lights and the Eurovision Song Contest out. I go absolutely no further.
Let's go Starmer then, shall we?
No.
No?
No, I don't think so.
Is there anything of interest out there right now?
There must be. Of course there is. But it's, like I said, I mean, we could talk about Gaza, we could talk about Ukraine, and we could talk about the Horn of Africa.
You're a comedy show, really.
The Horn of Africa. We could talk about the Horn of Africa. I mean, when was that in the news lately? There's 24 million people starving to death there. Let's talk about that. Oh, no, it's only 8 minutes to the end of the show, so I can't possibly do that now.
We're going to talk about this funny. That's the problem. What's funny?
Yeah, there ain't nothing funny no more. Well, you got to make funny out of it. That's the thing. If life gives you lemons, make juice.
Yeah. So where are we going to go? What's funny?
If life gives you limes, make margaritas.
Booze.
That's excellent suggestion. So it's probably the best advice you'll ever get.
Okay. All right, Nick.
Okay.
Good night.
Thanks a lot. Ta-ta. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
He's just doing his best. Lauren says, Celtic Frost are a Swiss band. The most influential metal band ever, according to The Guardian. Get lost. I've never heard of them. The most influential metal band ever? Please. Simon says, just finished watching Eurovision and feel guilty about missing your show. I've also struggled to see the Northern Lights. They are as elusive as integrity in a Tory defector. I've got friends from the US and they want you on their talk radio stations. Well, I'll give you my number. Have you got a pen? Robert says, how did everyone but me know about the Northern Lights? Was there a mailing list? How could you have missed it? Hey, Robert, wake up. It's later than you think. Jerry says, Nick, I know it was difficult for you to miss Eurovision, so a quick update. The UK got 0 votes from the public voting. 0? I thought that we got like 4 or something. What's the truth there?
For which what?
How many votes did the UK get?
Oh, I'm not up to date.
You're not with it?
No, I'm not with it.
You need to be hip like me.
Okay.
All right. No, we don't know. I think it would be there is something to be said for getting a nul point, for going through the contest and getting 0. I think that is an achievement. But if you just get like 4 or 5 or 10, I mean, if the winning score is over 100 and you get in the single digits, that's a bit, I don't know, I'd be disappointed with that. I think I'd be quite pleased if I got 0, because that's, that's an unusual feat, isn't it? But if you just collect a few points here and there, well, where's the glamour in that? There ain't none. Not that I care one way or the other, just to be clear. Jerry says, I know it was... no, got that. But he says, but tomorrow, Tichy will take that as a win because we still beat Norway. Norway. Somebody came under... here we go. Ollie Alexander had to grin through the pain during the closing moments of Saturday's Eurovision final after receiving 0 points. 0 points from the European voting public. His song Dizzy did manage to bag 46 points from the participating country's juries, however. Yeah, all of whom need to go for a hearing checkup That was awful. 0 points. They hate us. I wouldn't take it to heart, mate. It's probably not you they hate, or maybe they actually do. But I think it's more the country as a whole. This country is a whole. And who's responsible for that?
This government.
Exactly. Saying the quiet part out loud. Terry says the Sound of Music was set in Salzburg in Austria, not in Switzerland. I never said it was. And Chris says, didn't that speech therapist get the king to sing to overcome his stammer? Yeah, it's weird how singing gets rid of a stammer. Now, if you think this country has gone to the dogs, if you think that it couldn't possibly get any worse than what we got, this catastrophic clown show that we got going on here.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Then just remember that there is America taking our eyes, or the world's eyes, off us as the laughing stock of the planet.
Oh, shut up!
We still have America. And there was an excellent tweet, which I'm going to steal, from a chap called Mark Jacob, who is the ex-editor at the Chicago Tribune and Sun-Times. And the tweet was headed, "This is not normal." Hang on a minute. This is not normal. A candidate for president is explaining how a worm ate part of his brain while a rival who's an ex-president is cursing audibly in court while listening to a porn star describe lousy sex with him, while a key supporter who wants to be the ex-president's running mate is bragging about shooting her dog in the head in a gravel pit and saying the current president ought to execute his own dog. All this is true. Meanwhile, a Supreme Court justice whose wife plotted to overthrow the government is ruling on cases involving the coup and whether the guy who led the coup had the right of immunity to order SEAL Team 6 to assassinate his rivals if he felt like it. And while the court is considering that, it's also deciding whether pregnant women in Idaho must wait in a hospital parking lot until they get sick enough to convince emergency room doctors that they'll definitely 100% die if they don't get an abortion. Meanwhile, the ex-president's party is accusing college presidents of anti-Semitism, but not accusing the ex-president himself, even though he dined at his Florida resort with a Holocaust denier who jokingly compared the murder of Jews to cookies being baked in an oven. All this is true. And the ex-president is selling Bibles while his supporters in Congress wear badges in the shape of a rifle often used in school massacres, and his backers include a lawmaker who felt up her date in a theatre while they were surrounded by children, and another lawmaker who showed photos of the president's son's private parts during a congressional hearing, and another supporter who said the president should deny baby formula to migrant infants at the border, and another supporter who said the deadly assault on the Capitol was a normal tourist visit. And at the same time, the Bible-selling ex-president is a law and order guy, even though he's charged with 88 felonies and joked about a home invader using a hammer to fracture the skull of the House Speaker's husband and wants to pardon thugs who beat up 100-plus cops at the Capitol. This is not normal, he said. So, as weird as it's getting here, just remember, the world still can look at America and take its eye off us. At least we've got that. 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 At least we've got